Talking to Mr. RCrowder, and the topic is the impact of AIDS on African Americans. And of course, Mr. Crowder, before we had our first break, we promised that we'd give you an opportunity to talk about the organization that you found, that is StreetWorks. And I understand that that organization, as you've indicated, is located in one of the high-risk areas and one of the public housing areas over in Joe Johnston. Let's talk about your experiences in that organization and at that particular place.
Okay, again, we're located at 1431 Joe Johnston Avenue in the housing sites at John Henry Hill Housing Project. Our hours of operation is mainly 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. What we found out that there was a gap in services. While there's a lot of HIV agencies that does education, prevention, and care, what we saw was no one was in the streets during the hours when there was the greatest need for that type of work. And so we started StreetWorks to address that need. We have what we call a outreach drop-in center located there, whereby we allow people to come in, we distribute educational materials, we distribute free safer sex kits, which include condoms and you know, and information about HIV and how to protect yourself and how to prevent yourself from getting HIV. We also allow, we deal with what is known in the field as hard to reach population, and those are injection drug users, alcohol and other drug users, and sex industry workers. Now, when we say sex industry workers, we are talking about people who mostly trade sex for drugs, mostly. And you know, that's a big problem with crack cocaine in the inner city, you know. And so we try to address those needs. We allow people to come in if they need to take a shower, get something to eat, and we do that in that we, while they're making a sandwich or taking a while they're making a sandwich, that allows us to do an intervention and talk about their risk behaviors and how we can reduce those risks, what we need to do to reduce those risks. The other thing we do is HIV testing right on the spot. We use the oral short testing, which means we don't have to use any blood. We can do a oral swab, and we can do a test in maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Then we have the results in 2 days. The results go out to, the tests go out the next day. They fax the results in a couple of days. So people can learn their status. If those tests, if the tests come back negative, then we do what we call post-test counseling, talk about how we're gonna keep the test negative. And in the fact that the tests come back positive, then we link them to medical services and case management. We also have case management services. We have a housing case manager for those who need housing. And so we're doing a lot of work over there, and I must say that's thanks to our collaboration also with MDHA, because they provide the space. And our funding comes from the round white funding sources, a grant called HOPWA, which is Housing Opportunities for People with AIDS. We also have a grant from the state of Tennessee, the Prevention Grant.